Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Lily Kolosova, of course, and this is my journal here on this YouTube channel. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, friends. Hey, Ramus. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, you guys. All right. Today is just lemonade. So, okay, you guys, a very interesting subject I'm going to talk about today. So let's get this party started. Hey, Santo. Hey, good to see you, Santo. Thank you so much for being here. Mm. It is really chilly out here in California. I mean, why am I saying the opposite? Very hot. Teresa, hey, darling, good to see you. Heyoka sister, and to all Heyokas out here, this is for Heyokas, you guys. All right, so I'm using this Native American terms. I think it's probably going to be sort of the most simple for us, but I've got a lot of subjects that are coming up sort of on a collective level, you guys. So woohoo to that. Okay, really hot today. All right, so a lot is sort of coming up in the collective consciousness right now that we as as those of us that are standing in the front lines, the alchemists, all right, or the alchemists, or those that are here to master the ancestor path and close the cycle. So as we know, it's all about cycles and within cycles. So today I've talked about the importance of Heyokas and how do Heyokas impact a collective human consciousness on behalf of their ancestors during the transition of the ages. Okay, so during the transition of the age from the Pisces age into the Aquarian age, this is what we're going through. And as Native Americans, prophecies have talked about that coming off the rainbow tribe together. And rainbow tribe is actually the seven frequencies, the seven heavenly frequencies that are available for creation on this plane where we are at. Okay. So I'm going to kind of keep it to sort of this reality, and even closer. I personally am going to keep sort of this closer to personal level and where my feet are grounded at. So as a Heyoka, you know, you're there to serve your community. And so my understanding and the way my ancestors look at that responsibility as a Heyoka is the shamans who are can go into both worlds and have access to the heavenly frequency and have access to the darkest of the darkest in order to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Okay. And this is what was very interesting, right? That I put in the description here. I did put three different sort of subjects that I want to cover today. Okay. And so the spiritual war, and this is sort of the path of the Heyoka. It's the spiritual war. Heyokas are incarnated here on behalf of their ancestors to sort of to have to fight a spiritual war, or the war with the Vedic spirit. Okay, because this is what this is all about here. Okay, is conquering the Vedic spirit. And so when we're going through the changes of the ages, in particularly the cycle within the cycle within a cycle is very important. And this is why I am also going to bring up today a 49-year-old year cycle that is also through the Native American teachings. And the 49 year cycle is the collective sort of, it has to do with the land and sort of and culture and so closing those kind of cycles. So collective belief systems. This is what we are on right now. We're gonna be what's gonna be surfacing is, and this is why I want to touch on here for America. We are kind of going through that. If you look back 49 years ago, so that was the time when we're going through Vietnam War timeline. And this is why I put in the description the Vietnam War timeline. And in particularly in this timeline in the Vietnam War, this period from 1972 to 1974 was negotiation and passing the torch period during that war. Because the Heyokas are here on a collective level, so this war here, and then 1975, which is coming in 2 years, right? So right now we're about to finish up this negotiation, and the passing of the torch, right, within an American government that has to do with the war. Sorry, Jimmy's calling me. I'm gonna text him. Sorry, I'm gonna text him that I am live. Okay. So basically, what on a collective level for us Heyokas is to see what's gonna come up with the next year or so is going to start coming to the surface. And the other cycle I want to bring in is my daddy. My daddy Saturn is in retrograde right now. It started on June 29th. My daddy Saturn. I'm an Aquarius, so Saturn is my ruling planet. I am, as an Aquarius, have two ruling planets, so carry both and actually embody both elements, water element and air element. So it's interesting that my Saturn right now is in retrograde, and when Saturn is in retrograde, this is when Heyokas, because we are walking, talking karma. So we're basically um, the cycle, the karmic cycles, and so knowing ourselves, by knowing ourselves and knowing that we are here on behalf of our ancestors, we can now apply our own healing or that towards how do we transmute collective karma, because we're here to transmute collective karma. And so this is why I'm talking about World War III that we're currently in right now. And as we all know it, it's a spiritual war, it's a psychological war, right? It's a technological war, or it's a principalities, right? So it's a spiritual war humanity is in right now. And so as Heyokas, our impact on that healing and elevation of human consciousness, it has to do a lot with us having or developing those special abilities. I don't want to call them special abilities, but we do as Heyokas, and for those of you that know, as Heyokas, you're viewing reality in a different way. You seeing it, you can see both the good and the bad. So this is why during this time, and just like it's the saying comes from that sort of um, period when it was up to the people to decide what the future is, and at the same time prescribe the punishment for those the wrong humanity. So, like I mentioned last time, um, it is karmic retribution, but the dark side has to go through it as well. So, like, this is why I keep talking about the fact that for Heyokas, our true path is that trusting that once we heal and get to know the self and we know truly who we are, and we know that our ancestors run through our blood, and that we embody our ancestors, and we are embodying that our biofield is part of that quanta quantum field of this earth, or collective human consciousness of humanity, the living biofield, or the what is that, not the dark the word, I can't remember the word. But anyway, the esoteric qualities of Heyokas, right, you guys, are going to be very different. Heyokas are going to be able to, um, based on their experiences in whatever it is that you conquer on your own. This is what, like, I used to say when I was younger. I used to in the way, like, I was taught by my babushkas. Dark matter, exactly, Ramus, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dark matter, right? It's all that universe exists of, right, before it manifests. But there is also like a black matter or something that's different. But this is like that velvet heat, all that it is, in a way, that field of all possibilities. And just like for me as an artist, hey, Bruno, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here, Bruno. So it's just like, so you know, uh, when we go through our own individual healing, and we have this even past life regressions and things like this, and this is how I approach my sort of uh, hypnosis, um, is also from that perspective, to where you heal your own ancestral bloodline. And this is what empowers you to then fight this spiritual war that we're in right now, because we're literally is Christ consciousness right now, if you want to use biblical terms, versus the antichrist. Okay, so we're literally that the whole thing of is about to pop to the surface on a collective level. So this is why all of us went through the experiences that we went through, and like very difficult and very bloody in a way, right? So in the way we can deliver that karma, because we are that law, that universal law in incarnation, incarnated here. And this is why I said, and even when we were talking, Ramus, I told you a funny story about how my father dealt with magicians and black magic and all of that dark stuff. So I've been sort of familiar with all of that, and I know all of that, but at the same time, from a very young age, I knew exactly how to deal with it. Okay. And maybe I'll tell the story today about it. But first, I want to kind of uh, uh, talk a little bit about Heyoka's powers, right? So one of that sub-subject there is the path into unknown and the mystery power. So that the way that Heyokas trust or have faith, right? It's embedded that ability then to have that mystery power of always being at the right place at the right time, and having the right capacity to comprehend that. Same time, you have to understand as a Heyoka, you have ability to sort of be yourself of most high frequency, but have access to the lowest frequency as a master, right? So what you can do is you can get down there without harming yourself. So that meaning is like, and this is what I was talking about. So whenever, like when I was entering into that, when I was left with no choice, it was kind of life or death with exposing and going undercover with Freemasons and in particular their spiritual doctrine, which is Satanism. It's forbidden religion. You can't be a Satanist without being a Freemason, and you can't be a Freemason without being a Satanist. It's that simple. And so for me, knowing that and to enter in to see how this group operates and how they control, and in particularly what I wanted to find out is how do they recruit? Because this group is always about recruiting the living souls because they cannot create anything, so they always need supply of the living souls. So for me it was all about how do they recruit. So this is why, even when I will be, when the book's going to be ready, it's going to be, a lot of my book is going to be about the covert initiations that happens in all of these groups that are hiding under, because just like it says in the Bible, Antichrist is going to be wearing a Christ mask. And so the masks that had to be peeled off. So when you know the truth of who you are as an eternal being, and this is what you truly understand as a Heyoka, is that you are an eternal being and you're incarnated on behalf of your ancestors, meaning that you can only go through this by yourself. As within, so without. This is the fifth principle, right? So and then that what I was talking about, the Heyoka path, is the fool, right? So the fool walks off the cliff fully trusting that he will be sort of, that he, because he's already been through all of the like all of the paths, right? So as a Hayoka, it is sort of clearing out. It's an incarnation where you're clearing out your ancestral karma. So you're walking, talking karma. That's why you're not dealing on the lower levels, even though you're clearing for ancestral levels. This is why, because coming of the tribe of the rainbow tribe together, meaning all the frequencies, meaning all colors. It's our spiritual frequency or spiritual resonance, then that connects. And even within those 7 levels, we have different origins because our origins, universal origins, are different, right? As many know, and the historical scribes talk about having that our universal sort of home is the 7 stars, right, in the heavens above. So and then the 49-year cycle, it's also it's in Heyoka's destiny, is always to sort of to work on that cycle. So right now, how Heyokas can kind of, each and every one of you, we're all different ages, okay? So for you personally, right, you can look back at each on your life and go back is what's going on collective level in your environment, in your lifetime that you're experiencing your ancestral karma, because that's what's happening. So you can look back 49 years ago, for those of us who are older than 49, you can go back and kind of see how that will, we kind of gonna relive that again. Except, think of it this way. As we going through quickening, why I brought in Saturn return right now. Saturn return is only 4.5 months or so, right? So it'll be back straight. You're going straight in November, 1st of November or 2nd of November. I don't remember. But anyway, the Saturn, it's the structures. So right now we're going to be reviewing all these structures and all the things that sort of been um built up within while the Saturn was going that way. Okay, let's just say that. So now think about what can we see and how much of the stuff that we're gonna sort of that's gonna come up for us to transmute on collective level, because this is what all Heyoka is all about, you guys. So when we so this is what I want to talk about. That the power of Heyoka is that eternally, or it is like the law, the universal law, or a law of karma is on autopilot. So you're kind of cloaked in that energy of, that's your protection in a way. And so that sort of record of your as a Heyoka, it is sealed from this reality. So by understanding that, you can only have access to it when the universal collective field has access to that frequency. It's very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the words how to explain that, but this is your that as within, so without. So you know that thoughts that kind of rise from within you, and so these are your insights and all of that stuff. And this is why Hayokas are typically naturally gifted with gift of prophecy, because the Hayokas are already seen the future and came back into this lifetime where it's possible to close the cycles. Because the cycles in linear time, we don't understand how they operate in quantum field. It's quantum mechanics. Like in quantum mechanics, in one timeline, right, you make a change and it will immediately change in a totally different timeline. And so this is why when we do personal individual healing, I go to that sort of quantum entanglement first of this, because every incarnation is a quantum entanglement. And so you go to that source, like with the hypnosis sessions that I do, I go to the source of that quantum entanglement, and whatever timelines it layers on, and sometimes it's multiple timelines, in order to untangle that quantum entanglement, right? It can take multiple timelines to view in order to untangle that quantum entanglement. Okay. So this is why it's like, this is why Hayokas deliver karma naturally by being there. This is why those like the prophets and all of that, and talks even in the Bible about the end times, that many people will be here closing those cycles on, on that collective level. And this is your tribe. This is the uh, rainbow tribe. Okay, this is your indigo children. Crystal children is those that have the spiritual maturity to comprehend sort of the quantum leap in consciousness. Okay, and so and that's what kind of we are moving forward. And so the path into unknown is built on that trust. Hey, Santo, you saying, how do you compare your methods to disentanglement for multiple timelines to the way holographic kinetic does it? Holographic kinetic does not do quantum untanglement. Holographic kinetics deals with Draco frequency, winged Dracos, and draconian races, Santo. Holographic kinetics did not do disentanglement when I went there for classes. It's something probably that he started doing recently, if that's something that is part of his teachings right now, probably because he was exposed for for planting draconian frequencies within the auras of the people that would come. So once that was exposed, what I did expose that years ago. So he's talking about disentanglement. There's nothing when he was teaching years ago, Santo, holographic kinetics. He didn't know when it would come to quantum entanglements, it would be other. He would not go beyond it because he does not have capacity or access to those levels. Whatever he calls it now, it's nothing but draconian technology, Santa. So Steve Richards, it is what it is. You've been exposed long ago. It's just draconian technology. That's all he is installing. All based on fear. Holographic kinetics based on fear. If it's based on fear, it's satanic. Okay? Because that's it speaks in Bible about that. So let's not, overreact here. Because if anything is based in cultivating fear, it's not comes from most high. It's something that is sort of manipulating the energy to bring it to that low level because it can only consume it in that form, in form of fear. And so it's basically attaching entities. So um Steve Richardson, with that holographic kinetics techniques, it's just been attaching entities to people that do that. That's basically what he's doing, Santo. It is what it is. Truth hurts, but I am a true Heyoka. I'm gonna say it the way it is, and even if it hurts, it's gonna help a lot of people to eliminate that fear because anybody who went and did and tried that out and learned those techniques and had the sessions, everyone can tell you it's all based on fear. Foundation for it is fear. I mean, you don't have to be spiritually mature to know that it is not of good energy if it's based all on fear. Okay, and Teresa, you said I utilize intuitive kinology. Is that testing of the muscle and things like that, right, Teresa? Is that what it is? That one is perfect. Any tools that you can develop to work with yourself, tapping. Oh, okay. Yeah, that works too. This is the thing about all of those past sort of healing modalities that were out there. They were all masked under helping humanity, but they're all based on fear, and many of them were, had a hidden agenda. And because Freemasons are all based on secret, and the biggest secret that it's all based on murder. It's all biggest secret is that the only energy that religion desires is to keep the energy of human consciousness at that level, so that Vedico spirit can operate within a human consciousness, because other than that's the only way for that parasitic consciousness to experience reality in any form. So muscle testing on a spiritual level, accessing soul blueprint, unified field of intelligence. Beautiful, Teresa. That's all of those techniques. There is people. I mean, I don't want to say, put everybody in the same basket, but since I did have experience, Santa, with holographic kinetics, literally my experience was there. I mean, I literally seen him attach entities in draconian frequency to people, and it's all about coming back business, and it's all about making people come back for more and more and more. It's just all same pig, different lipstick. But the thing is, just like I was talking about, we're gonna learn that all the new age stuff, all until now, um, it was all satanic. So we're gonna learn about that, because all of that has to come to the surface, and all of that will be revealed. There is no way to keep that hidden anymore. And because the people that are in that system, they're not aware of it. They think it worked for thousands of years, that nothing's going to change right now. But we, out of all people, we all know that the changes are in front. It's shifting. It's just in front of our eyes. The reality is shifting. Um, Santa, you're talking about hierarchical nature to holographic kinetics. And that's just because it's all based on the Freemasonry and occult knowledge. It's all the same. Same pig, different lipstick. And so the thing is, like, there's many different names for like thing, but you have to kind of sort of recognize the energy. When you truly spiritually mature, you have to understand that, just like Christ said, knock and you shall receive. And if you know that the temple of God is within you, as and your father above is your father here, is still in this reality, meaning you're a universal being, you're the seed in this reality. When you can comprehend that, and so this is where there comes that higher knowledge, and this is why Satan is um, only sacrifice those that do have the higher knowledge. This is why they do intentionally seek to trap people with higher knowledge. Just like I was saying, and this is what we're going to learn, that most of the new age was built here in United States because of the satanic rituals that were done. And then based on that, they done like here, like they've done a satanic ritual on Max Heindel here, the Rosicrucian Fellowship in Oceanside, California. This is the guy with the intellectual that they've ended, stole his land, stole his intellectual property, his printing shop, took everything from him. And when they killed him, they kicked his wife out. And that property was, and the city and the state supported in that theft of the land and intellectual property. And to this day, the group of Freemasons own intellectual property of this man, not his relatives, but Freemasons. So, why? And right now, they need a new one because they can't do anything with this right now. They keep recycling the same material, but they need a new intellectual. And this is, I was going to be next too. Ooh, на ту попали, бляди. Got the wrong one. Or the right one. The right one. But everything what we're experiencing, and because we have to understand that there's something in there for us to solve the karma, our ancestral karma, or karmic retribution. And then whatever it is, um, theological society is just another branch of it, Santo. You said relationship between Masons and theological society. It's all branch of Satanism. All of it. All occult, cult, occult. It's all same group of people. Just like they're behind. It's all one and the same group of people. Just like um what is that comedian that used to talk? He's dead now. Carlson. Gosh, what's his name? He always say it's one club, and you're not in it. It is one club. And right now I'm talking about Freemasons because it's one of their sort of things that they're used as their cover. This is the forbidden religion, but the Freemasons is like they covered that. Yeah, George Carlin, Teresa, right. He says it's one club and you're not invited, right? So basically, and that's the thing. So they're behind Nazis, behind communists, behind all of those groups. Sasha Stone is guardian of pedophiles. And that's the other thing is Sasha Stone is basically blood market. That's what he is, yes. He told us a lot. Teresa, you talking about George? Yeah, George told us a lot, didn't he? About this one club, and you either in it or you're not in it. The way they initiate Sasha Stone comes from Orsini bloodline. Orsini bloodline is the one on the top. This is the Orsini, his last name. There is, there's white pope, so that's and then there is black pope, and then there is gray pope. Gray pope is the one is like is behind, and his last name is Orsini. So that's Orsini bloodline, yes. So people like Sasha Stone, they're all like bastard children that are born out of rape, and then they use them as like master slaves type of thing. And so they're typically just like, remember Teresa when there was um Canadian company, alcohol company, and there was two women, like they were really rich and stuff like that, and they were running child trafficking system, right? Um, Same thing with Sasha Stone. So that's that bloodline, and so they run those businesses, okay? And just like we're gonna find out that like Biden's been running child porn factories, businesses in Ukraine through Burisma. And so this is how a lot of people, this your Burisma Energy companies, child porn factories in Eastern Ukraine. The New Earth Project Santo. I mean, those people do what they do. That they all. But see, the thing is, you can now look back and see what it was, and they're not gonna be able to uh, is that they call it comes from Orsino, and they call it Tribunal for Natural Justice. But these people are so sick in their heads. You have to understand, you guys. I mean, what I've been through, it's crazy. They're literally they literally think that that's the only way they know how to be. It's really sad situation. Hey, Jimbo. So it's really sad situation because like, they have to go out there and they have all this, they all, like my handler wannabe, they all go through acting schools. They're all CIA, paid by CIA. They all, I mean, the acting was so horrible. It's like, oh my God, I have to to live with this horrible acting. But and so this is just like, Sasha Stone and all of them, they're just acting in their role. And if you look back, even Alfred Weber many times said that they were being prepared for these roles that they play. He said it to me. He said it on air, Alfred Weber, several times since they were young kids. That the deep state prepares Alex Jones and all of that stuff. They are literally raised that way. That's all they know. And because they're so, um, they're subject of mind control since a very young age, because typically those are their parents signed them up for experiments with CIA, and especially in military, a lot of military parents didn't know what was going on, but CIA was undercover in military doing a lot of experiments on mind control on kids. So they would do all kinds of things. So those are their parents are like either CIA or one of those, and then they have to. And then on top of that, their religion or being Mason is requires them to um um I got interrupted and I forgot. So it's basically it requires them to abuse, because that's in the doctrine. So they have to abuse. Why? Because they have to make sure that the mind is fractured. It's fractured. So, yes, but it's funny you said, Santos, the narcissist has no clothes. So it's very easy to see them once you're sort of standing in yourself and you've gone through all of that. But Alex Jones tried to cry. I don't know. I haven't seen much of Alex Jones lately. I don't know what he's doing, what he's up to. I really don't know what he's lately been into and what he's talking about. I don't know. Um so anyway, you guys, so I wanted to kind of like, talk to, oh my God, it's already 43 minutes. But I think Teresa, you're saying they're getting very desperate and they're showing their colors. Yes, it's very true. It's so funny. It's like you can see and you can look back how everything was staged and set up and all of that stuff, and how that whole recycling was happening, and new faces, old teachings and everything. Like even with all of this, like wow, I like when I got there, I'm like, oh wow, Cheyenne Dean recycle all of this art was recycled, and this is not it was not her intellectual property, it was his. But this is what I'm saying is like, once they take over, and this is the other thing is, in order to be in any church that is registered with the government, right, in order to be a pastor of any church of that nature, and I'm talking Catholic, all Christian churches, everyone, you have to be a Mason, at least a third degree. You have to get to a third degree. And at that first initiation, it's immediately flips, because they have to surrender their soul. And so this is why they require for all, like especially big churches, the ones that mega churches, all of those pastors at the top, they're higher than third degree. And it's a requirement, which is and so when all of that is going to surface into where people going to start understanding what that real whole thing is. But on another hand, you guys, even though, like I said, not everything in Bible is there, and I mean it's been put together by English King James, so we kind of have to figure what's in there, what's not, what he would not like to put in there. So um they so basically it's like you're gonna see all of that stuff in, and it talks in there that this is the time when nothing can stay hidden. So when that all of that is unravels, right? And it says in the Bible, the road to hell is big and wide, and the road to heaven is very like a hole in the needle. It's so tiny to go through to that heavenly frequency. It takes a lot of work, right? So when the people that go to mega churches, right? Like even TD Jakes right now, right? Um, and all the rest of mega churches, go look online and you find all those pastors in mega churches throwing Freemason signs, throwing satanic signs. They're all out there on the internet doing it. Eye of the needle. Oh, you feel like you're going through it right now, Teresa? Oh my goodness. Stay strong, darling. It's tough, but yeah. Oops, dark night of the soul. Oops. In and out, in and out. That's another path of Heyoka. Constant up and down through those waves of uh, frequencies. Um, but anyway, where did I? Oh, it says it's like, for those of people that go to church with 15 other thousand people, and then they're disappointed that their pastor is Satanist. Didn't they know that he had $1 million home and everything? And didn't they have the Bible to read? What they couldn't read? So I don't feel bad for those people. They're all gonna be, oh my God, drama, drama. It's gonna be a lot of drama, but they're gonna have to kind of accept it that those people are not in integrity. I mean, they're church pastors and they're um, billionaires and millionaires. They stole it from somebody. It belonged to somebody. They didn't work for it. Black leather jackets. Old pastors wear black leather jackets. What is that? Wonder what is that all about? Teresa, I don't know what is that about, to be honest with you. But a lot of really bad stuff happening in church, and like I know in a communist Christianity, like my mother was in church and she was a prophet, but because she was in a communist church, because she was a pure prophet, what they did is they used her, and then the dark uh, uh, art, the other prophets that were darker, they would steal her prophecies and they will turn them dark, and that's what then the pastor would present to church. So I've seen that type of prophecies flipping into satanic frequency done in the church in Soviet Union, because in Soviet Union, communist Christianity and church was used to um, sort of and that dark magic was kind of put one against each other, but they were on the same level. So you have to understand that you can only do this when you're on that same level of frequency. Um, so this is why black uniform. Yeah, and this is the thing is like Santo, it's all gonna come out. All this information is gonna come out. It's just the time is here for that. And so basically what is happening is that this is why we're going to be able to sort of state things the way they are. Okay. And so in a way, by stating the way things are, this is the beginning process of alchemizing that energy on a collective level. So this is why I'm kind of saying things that are a little bit shocking, right? A warrior's tale of our time. Absolutely. That Robert Wellglen has a good understanding of the black uniform. There's a lot of people, like there's a black guy that he's older now. He talks about like Bible and what kind of black magic been put in the Bible and all of that stuff in there. Kind of interesting. So it reminds me, since I have a few more minutes, so I'll tell you guys a little bit of the story about my bringing up of, because I know there's a lot of people out there, and I've recently been kind of researching and was called to look into some of the things. Apparently, there is a lot of Wicca witches out there, TikTok witches apparently doing stuff that's absolutely crazy. So it's been popular lately, like it's out there, right? Have you guys seen a lot of the witchcraft as being kind of out in the open and people are talking about everywhere? So it was interesting because the other night like I don't know, I don't ever work with any of the like deities or anything of that nature because of who I am. My thing is always direct. Everything is direct. I don't call on anybody. I don't summon anything. So uh, that type of thing is none of my sort of, I didn't even dive into it because it wasn't on my level of my frequency level that what I needed to study since I was a child. I needed to develop my gifts since I was a child. So my life was to all about self-development, right? So, but not to say that people believe in that stuff. And just maybe a couple of weeks ago, what happened is I uh I was actually, kind of was working with through a different intuitive, I was working with a different ancestors because um somehow in one of my meditations, one of the deities that is called Papa Legba, I had no idea who it is, what it is. So I didn't know. So I reached out to somebody who knows of that deity and who knows of that ancestors. It's an intuitive. They did my reading that I talked about to you guys. So basically, so I didn't know what was going on. And later I figured out that it was all because there was some situations that's been going on that's coming in the collective consciousness that's about to come to the surface, is all these witches out there on TikTok and all these idiots trying to be witches. And they're doing all these rituals and all this stuff. They're teaching people how to do witchcraft on TikTok. So what happened is there's a story, an 18-year-old girl, or 18 or 19-year-old girl, a white girl, decided to summon Papa Legba because her girlfriend, who was black, broke up with her. So she found something on TikTok, decided to do it, and end up dead. herself. So, in kind of talking about that and things like that, I had no idea what was going on. What is that? Apparently, um, that is the deity that Black people can go to kind of ask for things like that. But the interesting thing I learned is how that works when it's done so wrongly and people don't know what they're doing and they're playing with fire. They're literally ending their own lives. How could you be so dumb that you're a white girl, you calling on a Black deity that has nothing to do with your ancestors, and then you expected different result? It's like, and so that's that side. Here's your church side, right? It's all going to come to the surface that it's all the same kind of level of activities that's going on. So when I was growing up, the way I deal with that low vibrational witchcraft, that's why I kept saying all of these people that tried to do that witchcraft on me. I laughed on them and I said, bitches, there's a line. Go get in line to do that, because I learned to laugh at that. It does not touch me. I remember my when I was like 6 years old, we had one of the witches dropped like a cracked egg. There was some hair in it. There was some other shit in it. There was some bone in there. There was something else in there. It was like that kind of stuff. And she dropped that in front of our front door. So I over here, my mother and my dad are like, oh, there's something witchcraft is over here. So my dad picks up a shovel. He goes on the backyard, kind of starts a fire. Then he takes a shovel, and I am all like, "What's happening? Let's see." So I'm all ears. I'm behind the bushes, listening, watching, all being quiet and watching, hiding. What's going So he takes that, and then he's like, because it's like street over there, so he's a backyard, but there's a fence. So he's like a little bit closer to the street. So he starts this fire, and then he goes, drops this thing into the fire, and then he's kind of, and then I'm over there behind the bushes. I'm watching how is he, dealing with this? So, and then he stands over fire, and he says, "Whoever did this, may the fire be burning under your feet." And then he sharply looks at the fence, and, and right behind the fence, it's the witch that threw the thing in there, and she wanted to see what my dad is doing. So, and he knows that she's going to come and try to see what he's going to do with it, because she's going to be curious what my dad's going to do with it. So he says that out loud. And as I'm watching that, I don't understand what he's doing, but he's burning this, knowing that she's watching from across the street what he's doing, but he's saying those things loud enough so she can hear it. And then he turns around and walks towards the fence, opens the door, and goes on the street, and she starts running down the street. And he goes, "Hey, Maria, why are you running? Is there fire under your feet?" And that's how I learned how to deal with witchcraft. You just laughed at them. And then she would run so fast. He was going, "Why are you running? Is there a fire under your feet?" And he would laugh and laugh and laugh. And that's how I learned to deal with them. When people go to this such a low levels, all they're doing is they sacrificing themselves. They're just making fun of themselves. And he would run, and she would run away, and he would say, "Why are you wasting eggs? Maria, why are you wasting eggs?" That's the other thing he would say. Why are you wasting eggs? And that's how you you just that energy can never attach if you laugh at it. And that's how he did it. He could never laugh at it. And you know what? Um, when those witches that would did this to him and would throw all that witchcraft at him, they were the ones that they, when there was time for them to die, they were the ones who would call my dad to come and sit by their bedside and pray for them because they couldn't die without forgiveness of somebody like my dad. So, anyway, I just share with you that little story. So when people do all kinds of stuff, and even I told you, um, there was people that pretended to be my friends, even here in California, right? Um, they're not here anymore. Used to be here in the comments, right? My California friends, but come here and did what? Brought that shit, tried to put it on top of my door frames stuff. And I'm looking, I'm like, really? Really? You think that and so much of that stuff that I would find too, but it never can touch me because I've already sort of once you know it has to, it can never touch you because you have to believe in it. And for me, I don't believe in any of it. So it can never touch me. So and so it's the same for everybody. So that's why it's like the way we look at all of our experiences is something for me to learn about that. You know, to later not to have fear about those belief systems and to understand how limiting those belief systems are for those people. And they're the ones who later in life struggle with it. That same Maria that did this so often, she was the same one then that begged my dad to help her to pass on. And it took him 6 days to work on her. The whole town was waiting. That's how interesting my childhood was. Anyway, all right, you guys, it's been 1 hour. Um, so thank you so much, Ramus. I really appreciate you being here. Teresa, thank you, Santo. Beautiful, beautiful questions. Thank you so much for bringing up holographic kinetics. It's about time we kind of, without any fear of the entities anymore, there is just, it's all um, it's all Vedico. We're gonna clear that out. We're not gonna be afraid of it anymore. It's enough of it. So great story, Santo. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is. I laugh and the same thing. And later on, I was talking, laughing to that same friend that was trying to hang off of my door frames. Like, why are you hanging to the door frame, girl? Why are you hanging on to the door frame? And then in the same conversation, I just had to say it, well, people have to get in line, but it is what it is. But anyway, it though, even with this, after that, like I had to do some things to clear out the space because once you're aware of it, the energy is there. So you have to transmute it immediately. So you transmute it with love and laughter, and that's how you transmute it. And so love and laughter and just saying, it is what it is. People are there with where they're dealing with something that is probably their ancestral, and for many of those people, especially the ones that are on the dark side, many of those people will have to rectify their own karma as well because the law of karma applies to them, and so and to their ancestral karma as well. So it might seem like that person might not did as much, but their karma might be very negative because they're also rectifying their ancestral karma. So, and this is basically what we're kind of gonna all realize, that this is what we're doing on the collective level. So, if you want to review the 49-year cycle, you can kind of review it. And the reason why I put Vietnam War for America is because that was during that time. So, right now, it's like we're gonna come out of this spiritual war. Okay, the World War III is about to be over. All right, you guys, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being here. Um, yes, you can't fix stupid, Santo. That's definitely the saying. Can't fix stupid. Love you all so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Until Friday, Mino Friday coming up. I'll see you then, y'all. Have a great week and stay wild.